Good day and welcome to my session on developmentally appropriate practice. I am your presenter, Patrice Dorsette. Now, one of the most important factors of a developmentally appropriate institution is its staff and the methods that they use to build strong relationships with students and to maintain positive behavior. One of the main reasons for this presentation is to raise awareness amongst educators on the importance of building a responsive relationship with students, because these relationships help develop students cognitively, socially, and emotionally. There are many educators with an in-charge attitude and they lack the appropriate practices. They tend to humiliate students to achieve compliant behavior. Now, the correct approach would be to build a respectful and responsive relationship with students. This way, the students are able to build their self-esteem and their self-worth. Children always develop better when they have a secure relationship with their educators. And one of the ways this can be achieved is by the educators simply interacting individually with each student. So you try to connect with every student in your classroom. You create fun and interactive games like puzzles, arts and crafts. This way the students will draw closer to you. They will feel more secure. There are also educators who expect students to behave beyond their level of development. So they always expect students to behave, sit still, be quiet. But to demonstrate the behavior that you expect from these students, the educator or you as the educator have to model this appropriate behavior or the expected behavior to students so that they have a proper understanding of how they are expected to behave or the desired behavior. To achieve these behaviors, educators can place charts around the classroom with the desired behaviors for students and also incorporate them in daily routines and throughout the schedules in the classroom. Another inappropriate practice observed is that educators show very little enthusiasm when students reach developmental milestones. It is very important for us to always acknowledge these milestones. It could be them reading their first book or tying their shoes. We need to always acknowledge that they have achieved something to make them feel good, to acknowledge them and to make them There are educators who hardly ever work in small groups, and the only time they give students individual attention is when they want to execute a disciplinary action. However, working with small groups is actually a benefit for educators because this is where the best learning takes place. Small group activities benefit both the educators and the students, and they're able to incorporate many different activities to achieve this cooperation. They're able to execute games such as puzzles, arts and craft, and other Educators also very often disregard social graces and only expect students to apologize. However, educators need to display these social graces and have students practice them, such as saying please and thank you and using other polite words. This can be manifested through schedules and routines, especially circle time. That way it will settle and become as a norm towards students. We've come to the end of this presentation on developmentally appropriate practice. I hope that everyone was able to take home something positive and will implement the developmentally appropriate practices in their classrooms. Once again, I was your presenter, Patrice Dorsette.